And we're back once again, the top 5 sniper plays of HCS London. You've seen Snipe Down, you've seen Stellar. Now at number 3, Shotzzy. Shotzzy has the sniper rifle, Renegades on the other side of the barrel, 7 shots remaining. Let's see him put it to work. Shot number 1 to the side APG's face, didn't even see it coming, jumping up to ring 3, his teammates creating a distraction while he looks for an angle. Mikwen appears, body shot, quick draw, taking him out. Penguin, you're next on the list. Headshot to the back of the brain for the double. Neptune, where are you going? Back smack for the triple. APG is all that's left. And he never stood a chance. The overkill taking out the team, and we're not done. 3 shots in the chamber, missing the first one. 2 shots left as he stays on ring 3, hiding, looking for an opportunity, waiting for that moment. Mikwen pushing up onto ring 2, missing the second shot, but switching to the pistol to take him out. 1 shot left in the chamber as he pushes to ring 3, drops down with the no-scope and the beatdown, taking out Neptune for the double and staying alive like it was easy. Alright, so 7 separate kills in this sequence. We're going to take a look at all of them, starting with the first one. You can see APG pushing up on the carbine. Shotzzy sees APG. APG doesn't see Shotzzy, so Shotzzy has an advantage here. He can land that shot, get the first kill. But there's a couple steps that happen in the process. He's going to scope in, he's going to flick over the scope and land the headshot. But pay attention to when Shotzzy chooses to scope. You should never be surprised by that ×2 zoom. If Shotzzy sees APG and he chooses to scope here, then that would be horrible because he'd scope right into the bridge. He would no longer see APG. He'd have to flick that scope over and try to find the guy before he can land the shot, which is terrible. So instead, you want to take that reticle, line it up as close as possible to the opposing player, and then scope in so that when you scope in, you're not surprised by what you see. You can more confidently and more quickly land that shot. So flick it over, scope in as close as possible to that enemy. Now you can see APG is to the right of him. Now, the next part in this process, APG doesn't see Shotzzy. Shotzzy does not have to shoot instantly. He has a small window of time where you can confidently hit that shot. If you want to confidently hit these shots, a couple steps. Laser focus in on the opponent. Laser focus on the part of the opponent you want to hit, in this case, his head. Pay attention to what APG is doing. You can see he's strafing. He might be moving forward, pushing forward, trying to attack the enemy team. So he's not jumping, he's not thrusting. You can kind of predict his movements based off of the strafe here. The next part is to imagine yourself having hit this shot. What type of right stick flick would you need to do to connect these 2 dots together? How are you going to connect these 2 dots? Imagine yourself doing that. Your understanding of what this feels like depends on your direct experience with this game. It depends on your sensitivity settings. It depends on the scenarios where you've been here time and time again and you know how it feels to hit that shot. You need to be able to create a mental representation of what it feels like to hit this shot before you land it so you can follow through confidently. So imagine that right stick flick and then follow through, land the shot on the head. Now, when you hit that shot, you can exit the scope. There's a couple ways to exit that scope. You can double click, which a lot of people will do in certain instances, but the best way to exit your scope, what the pros do, assuming you're not LT aiming, is to switch weapons. So instantly switching weapons gets him out of scope, and he can also turn his reticle at the same time. So remember, you can scope in, fire the shot, switch weapons, gets you out of scope, brings you up to your pistol. You can fire shots with your pistol to follow up. Your ability to switch weapons quickly is going to depend on whether or not you're clawing or you have a paddle. If you don't have either, there's a couple other ways. You can reload to get out of your scope. You can double click, which is kind of annoying in my opinion. You can also sprint, which not many people do. If you're on the floor, you can quickly sprint and stop your sprint to exit scope, which is useful in certain scenarios too. So he takes out APG. There are no players on the rock side of the map. We can tell there's action happening in ring, and there's players on the other hut. So Shotzzy knows this is a perfect opportunity to push to ring 3. This is a great vantage point. You've got sight lines on the rest of the map. He's going to jump up to ring 3, tosses a pre-nade. The second nade he's tossing on the jump up in case an opponent wants to go to the jump up. But I don't know if this is a forged thing. This is a little weird. You can clearly see his reticle is pointed at the jump up, but the nade bounces off the wall, and it's going to fly out to the left regardless. So that's a little weird. I don't know if that's like an edge coming out in Forge that we can't see, but regardless, he jumps up to ring 3 here. Pay attention to how Shotzzy moves on ring 3. It's so smart how he moves around here. At no point does he burn a thrust unnecessarily. He doesn't even use one at all. He just walks around confidently, comfortably, knowing his set movement speed and just playing carefully around this area. Even jumping to this arm right here, if you are on this edge and you want to jump up to the arm, the first thing you want to do is hold crouch, and then while you're crouching, jump while you're crouching. And then if you do that, you'll jump and have a lower peak height on your jump. So that means that your head won't stick out very far above ring 3. If an opponent's looking for you and you hold crouch and jump while you're crouching, you do a lower jump up to here. You can comfortably get on this arm while avoiding angles from around the map by keeping your peak height, your head lower, which is really smart from Shotzzy. So jumping up to the arm, also remember placing that reticle as close as possible to the enemy before you scope in. So placing it, like flicking it down, scoping in. Mikwen's over to the right. He's going to confidently land that shot, peg it over, and land that body shot, immediately switching weapons to land the headshot. Once again, guys, Penguin is in front of him. Pay attention to where you choose to scope. Shotzzy knows he's going to scope right here, and if he's scoping here, he's going to have to flick upwards to land that kill. And Shotzzy's one of those players that has a very high vertical sensitivity. He can flick up confidently, so he knows if he needs to do a dramatic upward flick, he's used to that situation. If you don't have that, maybe you want to scope in a little bit higher, so you do a left or a right flick. So pay attention to when you choose to scope, so you hit that shot with confidence, especially when the player isn't looking at you. So scope, flick it up to land that shot. He's going to drop down. Neptune, horrible situation for him. You missed the melee here. Now, Shotzzy still hasn't burned a thrust. He still has a thrust. Do not use your thrust here. Do not panic when you miss this melee. Just hold your ground and just confidently walk up, hit the second melee, land the shot. No need to thrust. No need to burn anything unnecessarily. No need to sprint at the guy. Just take your time, be patient, be confident in every movement that you make. He's going to move over. APG, last guy. He'll quick scope, land the shot, immediately switch weapons over. So one thing about Shotzzy and quickscoping as well, if you guys don't already know, Shotzzy plays on Southpaw. He shoots with the left trigger. So by shooting with the left trigger, he's taking so much pressure off of his right hand. So he's aiming with the right hand and then firing the shot with the left trigger, as opposed to other people who have to shoot and aim with the right side, the right hand, and that's a lot of pressure on the right hand. But by splitting these processes, imagine how much easier it is for Shotzzy to click with the right stick and then shoot with the left trigger for a nice, clean quickscope. He's got a great advantage on quickscopes with right stick aiming by having Southpaw. So he'll land the overkill. Do not just, drop your controller and stop doing anything when you land an overkill. The moment you land an overkill, all you know now is you've slayed them all. They're all on respawn. Where are they going to go next, right? So he takes them out on the blue side rocks, and he's jumping up and looking red rocks. By looking here, he is blocking the spawn point on red rocks. They're not going to spawn up in blue. He just killed them in blue. We know they're probably spawning on red hut. So Shotzzy can move over to red hut, being prepared for that, scoping in. He overflicks in this instance. A nice thrust by this player to get away, but honestly, if Shotzzy was a little bit more patient, he probably could have followed him and shot, because you'll notice this player doesn't even fire a single shot. He literally sees Shotzzy and tries to escape. So Shotzzy could have been a little bit more patient there. Regardless, moving up, great play here too, knowing that all the players are in the hut. He can't find an angle, so instead he's going to shove his body into this rock here, completely cut all the angles off on the hut side of the map, and he can stay here and confidently wait. Unless players are pushing through rocks, they might be able to fire a couple chip shots, but this is a great place to wait temporarily and hide. So you can see Mikwen push up, misses the no scope. Regardless, pay attention to your left stick as well. Your right stick and left stick are so important when it comes to aiming. Notice how Shotzzy does these nice, careful little strafes on top of this rock, knowing that he can strafe forwards and backwards, and he barely moves the right stick. It's all just following him with the left stick and using that auto aim, understanding that when you flick the aimer on the opponent, you can feel the auto aim on him, and just keeping it in that zone by using the left stick to just subtly strafe and follow. So up, straight, backwards, forwards again, and he just keeps himself in that zone carefully. This last one, nice and easy, dropping down. Like I said, when you have an advantage on an opponent, you're dropping down on them like this. You have a sniper. Don't even worry about the headshot. Just no scope, beat down, take him out. And Shotzzy, he's levels above, okay? Because you could have thrusted over to Bond in this instance. He kills him. He could have gone to Bond and tried to escape. But he knows there are players on the side of the map. He knows that his teammates, remember the radar here, you can see the little markers, his teammates are on the other side. If he thrusts forward after this melee, he's going to put himself in the vision of players on this side of the map, and he knows instead he can go to his teammates. So he's going to immediately thrust under the bridge around, bounce off the floor, carrying that momentum from the thrust into the jump. So he flies over, and notice how he's even Gandhi hopping. He's clicking that right stick to just make sure that he doesn't take any damage, because players are going to start shooting him from behind as he's trying to bounce in the air and shake and make it hard for them to land a shot, and he goes around the wall, and this is so smart. All of his teammates are here. He knows his teammates are pushing on ring. His shields are about to come back up, and knowing that, he's immediately going to challenge back out, because he's wasting time. If he goes back and regroups with his teammates and then pushes with them, what a waste of time. That would be, not a very helpful use of his movement on the map. So instead, Shotzzy knows getting his shields back. If he peeks back out, the opposing player doesn't expect him to peek immediately. They turn away. He gets a free shot, and now he sees an opening where he can fly to the hut. If he quickly flies to the hut here, he is opening up and expanding the angles on his team, creating a shell on this side of the map, and now as his teammates push through ring, he's got a back flank angle, which is beautiful. He just executed everything here flawlessly to make sure he has as many options as possible, and he's also helping out the team. You get the overkill, you stay confident, you think about the next step, think about the spawns, and where to conquer next. Amazing play by Shotzzy. And that closes out play number 3 in this week's top 5. You've seen 3 plays, 2 plays left remaining. We are down to the wire. The action only gets more intense from here. I'll see you guys tomorrow with play number 2.